Hello, good morning. It's the MG S5. No, it's not just an MG4 with a different body on it. Here's the executive summary. If you're looking to spend just over $40,000 and you want to buy a family mid-size electric SUV and you don't mind something that looks like a refrigerator, or it's just inconspicuous, if exterior styling isn't important to you, you might be looking at the very bland-looking GTE X5, very good car, or the, been around for a long time now, BYD Atto 3, also a very good car. Or at the same price, you might be looking at this, the MG S5. Maybe you hadn't even noticed it. Well, notice it, because if I had a choice between the three of them, I would definitely pick this car. So let's go to sport mode. Sport, floor it, a little lazy off the line, and about 30 k's an hour. Now it starts pulling really quite well. So that's entirely appropriate. It's still quick, it's an EV, so it's quick by any reasonable car standards. You'll still be quicker off at the lights than everybody else. Well, almost everybody else, unless they're in another EV. But look, can you see how fun that is? Really flat chassis, turns in nicely, you pitch it along, the lateral limits of grip aren't super high, you can feel it loading up the tyres. It's fun. Seating position is perfect. It's not a roly-poly barge. It's far better than a lot of EVs I've driven along here. You're getting just enough feel from the steering. It's a little bit detached. So here's a long corner, a long flat corner. Turn it in, push the limits, wet in the middle here. Just starting to push a little bit, but so neutral. Nice chassis, I do like it. It may not have all the blingy things and the ambient lighting and flashy stuff that some of the others do, but it's a driver's car as much as a mid-size SUV can be. It drives really nicely, very good ergonomics. It's significantly better than the MG4, which I really liked. It's fun to drive, and in a way that an Atto 3 and the Geely EX5 were not. They were just too soft. And of course it's rear-wheel drive. This is a beautiful chassis. You can hear how quiet that is. Handles the bumps well, and it's firm but never harsh. It's a nicely weighted steering, the brake feels good. Don't know what else to say. If you're spending $41,000 on the road for an entry-level one of these, I just can't see why you wouldn't. Roll credits. Hello MG. Unlike my MG4, you don't give me a personalised greeting when I get in. That's one thing we've lost, but other than that, this is a really good car. They have really listened, and they've improved this no end. Much nicer looking interior. Look, this perforated leather stuff. We've lost a lot of the piano black, and we've got a nice sort of satin finish trim. I really do like it. Now, you know how when you get in the car, you've got to switch off all your safety stuff manually every time you get in, so the manufacturer can get a really good ANCAP rating. Well, good news, guess what they've done? They've put a pull down here, and straight away you can go MG Pilot Custom, and it now reverts to the settings the way I like them. I can easily show you. In MG Pilot, here are my settings. Speed limit recognition off. Front collision assist I'd like. Alert, not rather than braking. Sensitivity, lane departure assist, I do not want that on. And emergency lane keeping, also don't want that on. And at the bottom, I don't want the driver distraction monitoring. You can see, we can have that with an audible warning. No, I want that off. So as I say, all I have to do, every time I get in the car, I just pull down, MG Pilot Custom on, and it's done. I do like my own driving mode. Again, in car settings, driving control, I like to set up my own custom settings. Sporty power, sporty firm steering. It's a really firm feel. I really like it. Feels super solid. And one pedal drive as well I like. And that is retained in the MG4 and other models. It loses that every time you get in the car. All I have to do is press this star button, and it switches through the modes till I get to my custom setting, which is there. Similarly, the left-hand side, I've configured this one for regen. How much regen do I want? Low, medium, or strong? What's more, it's not laggy. You see how fast it is? CarPlay as well. Now the native Excite model MG does not have voice control natively, but it does have the button here, and that will talk through to your CarPlay or Android Auto setup. navigate to Sydney Harbour Bridge.
Getting directions to Sydney Harbour Bridge using Waze.
There we go. The standard car does have its own native navigation. Personally, I don't use it. The voice command doesn't work with it in this model. It does in the Essence, but not the Excite. But why would you when you've got perfectly good CarPlay there? And CarPlay, of course, gives you Google Maps, you know, Apple Maps, or it gives you Waze. So heaps and heaps of options there. Now we should do some driving. And that tick-tock sound you hear is probably one of the worst things I can say about this car. I'm struggling to find bad things to say about it. I know I sound like a bit of an MG apologist, and we have reviewed quite a few MGs on the channel, as you've seen. They provide cars when we ask them, if we ask nicely. But no, they don't pay me, and I can say what I like. Now, as you'd remember, modern MG, that is Chinese government-owned MG, returned to Australia about 12 years ago. They're cheap and cheerful front-wheel drive cars like the MG3 shopping trolley and the ZS and HS SUVs became best sellers. Really affordable, but ticking lots of boxes with plenty of features like sat-nav as standard. And with the SUVs, not just petrol, but affordable electric and hybrid models. But they certainly weren't performance cars, or for the most part particularly good drivers' cars. But people like value and they vote with their wallets, and even oldies like me got over our "that's not a real MG" prejudice. But then, just in the last year or two, a big change of direction. MG wanted to present a whole new image as a legitimate performance car brand. So for the first time we got a rear-wheel drive hatchback EV that jumped straight to number 4 on the best-selling EVs chart. Fully electric, rear-wheel drive, and Mark actually liked it. It was one of the first EVs he'd ever driven, and he actually really liked it as a driver's car. Nice little Z3, haven't seen one that nice for quite some time. Young P-plater, good on you, buddy. So, yes, we like the MG4. So much so that I actually bought one. I bought the X-Power, didn't I? The 600 Newton metre, 300 kilowatt monster. I got a good price, but I paid cash for it. It's my car. So yes, I obviously like the brand, but I'm still going to tell you what I really think about it. Now, the S5. This is basically the MG4 chassis, drivetrain, everything. About 200mm longer, about 8 inches longer. Slightly taller, not as much as you might think, but a lot more space inside, particularly the boot area. But I thought it would be just like the MG4, and it's not. It's everything that I had an issue with, the MG4, and there aren't much, but they fixed them all. So what's wrong with this car? Well, to look at, it's innocuous, inconspicuous, unobtrusive. It's bland, right? It's just another white SUV like that one over there. Unlike a lot of the other EVs, it hasn't tried to make itself look distinctive. You know, Kia's got its own stormtrooper-style design language, and all the new Chinese brands, they're all trying to differentiate in some way. You know, Zeekr's got its own look, which I quite like, but it's very angular and unusual. Tesla, of course, has its own look. The Deepal has got a sort of very distinctive look. This one doesn't. This one looks like it could be any white refrigerator SUV from the last 10 years. So if you buy this car and park it in your driveway, expecting your neighbours to come rushing out going, "Oh, you got a new car," it's not going to happen. 6 months later, your family will go, "Is that the same car?" And you go, "No, I got a new car." Now, what was wrong with the MG4 that they fixed? The MG4 had an awful lot of piano black. You needed to keep a lint-free cloth in the car all the time so you could clean it. The seats in the MG4 are the same right across the range. Even the X-Power version has still got the same seats, and they're not bad seats, but they're nothing like as good as these seats. You know, whenever I get in a modern EV, and we've driven so many of them, there's always something that's not quite right. Whether it's the seat squab's not long enough, or the wheel won't come close enough to me. Well, in the MG-S5, I'm really struggling to find anything I don't like. The wheel does come out closer to me than most cars. There's a very long seat squab. It's got good lateral support. I do like the soft middle, but you've still got the strong lateral support. This, being the base model car, does not have lumbar support. You've got to spend an exorbitant $3,000 more, he said tongue-in-cheek, to get all those extra things in the Essence model. This is the base model Excite. And in Excite, I don't get the panoramic sunroof, I don't get the 360 top-down camera, I don't get the heated electric seats, there's no cooling option. unfortunately. I do like the cooling option, but you don't get that in any of them. It would be nice to have that 360 camera and the pano sunroof, but you'll need to pay $3,000 more for that. Not a lot. Now both the Excite and the Essence with all the extra fruit, you've got the option of either the 49 kilowatt or the 62 kilowatt hour battery. This is the 62. And for the price of the extra battery, you pay $5,000, which is actually quite a lot, considering it just adds about 80 kilograms to the car and about 80 kilometers of range. So if range is really important, yeah, you want the big battery. But for Mark and I, it's all about the driving experience. And to drive this one straight away, a really tight car. Now Mark's not reviewing this car today. He's had enough of the EVs that I keep bringing him. So you got me. And to be honest, I actually really do like reviewing these modern EVs. I'm excited to see what new features and bells and whistles they put in. This car is almost completely devoid of bling. It doesn't tell jokes to you like a Volkswagen does. The screen interface, you know, is not super flashy, but it's very functional. And they addressed all my issues. My biggest gripe with the MG4 was this screen interface was laggy and slow and not very well designed. It was hard to find things sometimes. Even when I knew the car well, it took me 3 months to discover there was a second pull-down menu where I could get to various other functions. And the little screen in front of you, yeah, was very basic. If you look at this, completely different. This actually looks quite classy. So let's talk basic specs as we head down here. Not a lot of power, only 125 kilowatts, 250 Newton meters. Whereas the MG4 had more than that, went up to 150, even 180 kilowatts and 350 Newton meters in some. This one, it's a little bit slow away when you stand on it, till about 30 k's an hour, and then it picks up its skirt and starts dancing. Considering this car weighs 1,700 kilos, not heavy by EV standards, but still reasonably heavy for a car that's only running 215 60 profile tyres on 17-inch rims, and it's absorbing the bumps really well, and it's a nice drive. It's staying nice and flat. Oh yeah. So look, even though it's just a family SUV, it's still got to be nice to drive. And guess what? This is. The rear-wheel drive characteristics are really good. So look, it's not a performance car, but it's still a very nice car to drive. The steering weight is really good. Brake feel is firm. I like that. It's got decent brakes. Very, very good suspension damping. I know this road well, but just it rides the bumps so well. It stays firm, but it's not harsh at all. I'll just do a full stop here. Yeah, it's good. Nice feel on the brake pedal. How's the stereo? See how that sounds. Sound quality, average. Found something I don't like. Yeah, the audio's not great. If you do buy the Essence model, you'll get an up-spec stereo. You get 2 extra speakers, but I suspect it's still nothing particularly great. Okay, the only question is, do you go the big battery or not? The good thing is they're LFP. They're no longer NMC batteries, so you can charge them to 100% all the time. So that effectively gives you 20% more range, if you like. I'd suggest the 49 is probably more than enough for most people. If you can plug in at home and just trickle charge the thing overnight, it'll add about, 30 to 40% of the battery's charge overnight, just from a normal 240 volt power point. You don't need a special charger. For most people, that will cover them 99% of the time. People love to think about, that one time when they're going to do a long trip interstate, but that's not normal use. And it's no great inconvenience to charge these days publicly once you've got used to it. Mark and I started this channel to review classic and exotic sports cars, thinking that that's all people want to see, Porsches and McLarens and things like that. And we do like doing those cars. But I actually really enjoy reviewing just these modern consumer white goods appliance electric SUVs. It's just fun seeing the differences between them. So here's a long, gradually tightening corner. You come in and it stays. It's a tricky one, really flat. Can you feel that? We're actually going quite quickly here. Yeah, really good. McPherson straight at the front, but a 5-link rear end. It's not a beam axle, it's a proper 5-link rear end. Yeah, it's just nice. As family transport EVs go, that's a really nice chassis. Approve. Yeah, this is a really good example of Australian roads. Super smooth back there, and now a really harsh bit with potholes, and it's firm, but it's not harsh. It's just spot on. It's really good not having low profile tyres sometimes. They're actually quite appropriate for Australian roads. There's no squirm. Here's a smooth bit, and you come off the smooth bit back onto the harsh bit here. I've been along here in some sports cars where you're just paying so much attention. I mean, I'm paying attention now, but you're so concerned about wheel damage, and this just seems to be dealing with it so well. Slightly longer throw suspension, I feel, than the MG4. I might be wrong about that, but I think it is. Yeah. How's our battery? Oh, only 38%. I don't know if we'll make it home. And hook it in here. Hook it in, and it's actually handling that really well. Whoa. It's not a McLaren, but I'm having fun anyway. How about that? If I want to add a bit more regen because we're going downhill, I just, look at that, one button on the steering wheel. Percentage power, 100%, minus 25%. Yeah, we're putting charge back in. Yeah, money's going back in my wallet as I talk to you. I suppose you could compare this to the Insta, the little Hyundai, which is a much smaller car. This is a big car. This has got a lot more space in the back. So compared to the MG4, it's got a lot more boot space. A lot more roomy. Back seat's really nice too. With the seats down, it's gone from about 1160 litres to 1440. Righto. You know what it's time for? Bacon and egg roll. Right now. One bacon and egg roll later. It's a much better quality reversing camera than the MG4. It's like the engineers really sat down hard, looked at the MG4, said, it's good, but what can we do to make it better? It was very much a first generation car, and this is not. They've fixed everything. And let's see how it gets up the hill. So there we are, very steep hill, on the gas, fine. You can't complain about that. So would I prefer this car to, say, the Kia EV3, World Car of the Year? Yes, I much prefer this. Too expensive. I don't like the quirky styling. Compared to the cars of 10, 15 years ago, all modern cars are just so good. So here's the series of bends. We came up here in the Ferrari 458 with this change over the brow here. Very exciting corner, and yet no drama at all. I'm sorry Mark's not here. I think he'd actually enjoy this. Snooze and you lose, Mark. You get electric powered tailgate on the Essence model, but not on this base level Excite. So the MG4 boot only had about 340 litres or something. This has got significantly more, and with the seats laid down, 1440 or something like that. Okay, what's in here? Oh my goodness. There's a whole lot of nothing down there. I see an electrically assisted steering rack way down the bottom, and some fans and air conditioning stuff. But there's nothing here. They could so easily have put more storage in there. It's amazing how much empty space there is in the front of these cars. Oh yeah. Sound deadening there, but also here. And the second seal around there. Very, very low wind noise. And these seats, as I say, look at that. That's a very nice seat. I do like the velour. The Essence model has sort of simulated leather squabs on the outside, but you still get the cloth in the middle. It could be anything, couldn't it, really? The styling's inoffensive. It doesn't really stand out, does it? It doesn't attract attention. If you're a secret agent, you don't want to be noticed, probably a good car. I do like the wheels. Isn't it unusual to see that? That's a little metal trim. Interesting. How rare is it to see all black wheels like that? And inside, very, very nice. Let's have a look. So this little central screen is much better than the MG4. To our settings, including tyre pressures, there they are, nice and high where they should be. That's all set by that. And even though this car doesn't have voice command, navigate to Sydney Opera House.
I'm having trouble with the connection. Please try again later.
Okay, we're out of range. So Siri's not working. Makes sense. Physical buttons, excellent. Aircon, temp, fan, speed, volume over here, rotary knob, fantastic. Change modes here for regen braking, cycle through those. Change modes here for drive mode. All on the steering wheel. You can do it without having to go to the screen. Cruise control and all your entertainment stuff on this side here. Now we've been driving for a couple of hours and it's showing efficiency of 18.1 kilowatt hours per 100k, which is okay. It's not a particularly heavy car, but we have been driving it in a spirited fashion. So if that's true, that's not too bad. All right, I think that's enough cruising. We're down to 31% battery, so I think we better get home and actually put some charge in this thing. That's a good hour away. Hope we can get there. It's showing a range of only 106 kilometers. I better drive frugally. All right. How's the power? Full power. Nothing. 30 k's an hour. Now it starts to go. And 80 and 100, just like that, except it's an 80 zone. So go back to 80. So you can see that's not shabby. A little lazy off the line. It's obviously intentional. They've programmed it that way. But once it gets to 30 k's an hour or so, whoosh, off you go and you get the full torque. I don't mind that. It suits the car. All right, let's set cruise control on there, and then you push this button to start it. It sets your cruise. You can set the distance to the car in front. You've got limits, all that stuff. Being sensible doesn't have to mean that it's boring. So here's our score for this car, or my score, not Mark's score, my score. And it's done extremely well. What can I say about it? Just the presentation, you know, it's inconspicuous. Your neighbour's not going to notice. Who cares? The only choice you've got to make is whether you want the big battery or not, and whether you want to spend 3,000 extra for the Essence pack. Sunroof, better stereo, heated steering wheel, heated seat, 360 camera, that's useful. Maybe the best value one is the simple bare bones one. Look at this, 100k zone, and in the fast lane, the guy's doing about 65 k's an hour. So that's it. That's the review of the MG S5. It's one that could easily slip by without you noticing, but I love that it's rear-wheel drive. Got perfectly adequate power. Inside the cabin, that's where the strength of this car is. It's just such a nice car. Got good dynamics. No, I'm not on the payroll of MG. Yes, I have shot at some of their TV commercials, and yes, I've occasionally been at launches of their vehicles and stuff, but they don't pay me to say this stuff. We don't sit in their favour, you know, because we want to be able to say what we really think. And the fact is, I just really like this car. Showing 17.1 kilowatt hours per 100k. The little Hyundai Insta gave me like 13 kilowatt hours per 100k, so that was a super sensible practical car, but this one's actually not too bad. As always, it's not about the cost of the electricity. That's not the issue. The issue is range. And let's see if we can get home before the rain comes and before we run out of electrons, because we're down to 17% and only 60 k's range left. I think we'll get there.
A few minutes later.
So on today's drive, that's what it reckons, 16.8. Not bad for a fairly blunt-fronted SUV. But overall, since we picked up the car, that's what we've averaged. So listen, if you are going to buy one, just do me a favour, please. Don't buy a white one. I mean, look, white cars everywhere. Pay the extra $600 or $700 and get a nice colour. They make a nice red, a nice blue, maybe even the gold. But just get something different, please. Other than that, go right ahead. Thanks for watching. See you next time.